Hello, welcome to lecture 3. Today's lecture is about accounting for labor or direct labor or indirect labor. As we know, labor is an important element of total cost or cost of products. If we say our aim and summary of, um, of our module, as we see, we will use some tools and techniques that is being used for calculation, reporting of and analyzing of costs, different cost elements. Now, our learning objective is clearly mentioned applying cost techniques in relation to material, labor, and overhead. So today we would be talking about labor. Labor and payroll accounting. We will see what does labor mean, what is the labor uh, cost includes, what's the difference between salaries and wages, and what are the elements of labor cost itself, and also our organization required to maintain reports on the tax the employees and the employers are paying on labor cost and that is being paid to the government. So firstly, what we may have some confusion regarding what is salary and wages. So salaried employees are paid based on an annual salary. There is an annual salary estimated or promised to pay to the employees. And also those employees are kind of full-time or contractual employee. They have an employment contract with the employing organization. But there are certain type of employees who work in the factory or in an organization who are being paid hourly. Usually they don't have any employment contract, um, and and they may not have other benefits eligible to get from the organization. But in case of full-time or contractual employee, they have the eligibility to get some other benefits from the employing organization. So if we see our cost structure, whether it is direct cost or indirect cost, you can see the direct cost include direct material, direct labor, and other direct expenses. And indirect cost includes rent, utilities, and other general expenses, general office expenses. So our direct cost, or the cost of production, includes a significant part of the cost of product or inventoriable cost is direct labor. Okay. Um, Particularly, there are some organizations which are labor intensive organization, the organization which mostly depend on employees, not the technologies, not the machineries, particularly the service enterprises. And there are some manufacturing enterprise as well, which can be art and craft, or some other labor intensive organization, which mostly depend on labor, has the significant amount of cost of their product in relation to labor. So direct and indirect labor cost. So we have to maintain a record of the time that the employees are working in the organization. So they should have a time sheets for each employee on the daily basis. So whenever an employee enter in the factory, their time is being recorded, and when they leave the organization, so they need to record the time. And particularly in this modern age, organization um, maintains some kind of card. So they need to punch the card or swipe the card when they come in and then when they come out from the organization. All right. So the record is being maintained for the employee as well as what, how much time employees are working for a particular product or service. That is also being recorded. Why? Because if you want to determine the cost of a particular product, you need to know how much labor cost was spent on this particular product. And not only for the labor cost, in some cases, overhead costs are also being allocated based on labor cost. So labor time, labor cost is important in case of allocating other costs like other indirect cost, that is overhead cost as well. So we need to maintain times for the employees to be paid the wages and salaries to the employees, and at the same time to determine the cost of the product or costing of the products is also important for determining the cost of the products based on labor cost. As we see, what just I mentioned, cost allocation. So direct cost and indirect cost. The indirect cost is basically allocated using the labor as an allocation base to determine the cost of a cost object. Okay, cost of an object. So cost object, as we mentioned in our first lecture, cost object means the product that we are producing, the ultimate objective of the cost, why we spend some costs. So we need to trace what are the costs we incurred, direct material, direct labor, and other direct expenses, and also indirect costs. And the indirect costs are being incurred for different products at the same time. So the same cost includes the amount that is paid in total for a number of products, for a number of service. So the indirect costs need to be allocated on the products on which that cost has been incurred. All right, so that we can determine what's the cost of a particular product accurately. All right, so if you see the cost sheet, okay, so direct materials, how much direct materials, what is the requisition number, and how much is the direct material cost, right? And how much is the direct labor cost, what's the direct labor hours they spent, and how much the labor is being paid hourly, and what's the labor cost based on that time they spent on that particular job, okay? And then what's the labor cost in total, and also manufacturing overhead, $30 or 30 pounds per direct labor hour. So this overhead cost has been determined based on labor time. Okay, so 6 hours labor, 30 hours per labor hour is the overhead. So overhead is being calculated based on labor hour, and that's why we need to trace, we need to maintain appropriate records of our labor time. Okay, so the total cost comes direct material 370, direct labor 90, overhead 180, altogether 640. All right, so if you want to determine accurate total cost of the product, we need to maintain the appropriate records of the labor time and the labor cost, and also other elements of the cost. Indirect labor. Which are indirect labor? Some labor that never being allocated directly to a specific job. So, for example, supervisor salary. All right, the supervisor doesn't supervise only a particular product. Supervisor supervises different the production of the different products, and maybe hundreds of laborers, or maybe 10, 15, 20 people are working under a supervisor. So his salary is supposed to be the cost of different products, not only a particular product. For example, the cleaners wages. So cleaners is not for a particular product. cleaner is not for a particular machine. So cleaners payments, idle time payments, okay, holiday pay when the people are not working, okay, bonus payments, overtime payment, okay, these are part of the cost of the product, but which are not relating to a particular product, okay. So employees are on holiday, okay, but we have to pay for that time. So for which product we should charge the cost of the holiday, or overtime, if the overtime activity is being spread to a number of products. And that's why these are being recognized as indirect labor, and these indirect labor are being allocated based on direct labor, okay. Types of different types of payment or the salaries or the wages, whatever we say, it includes a number of um, elements. So it can be base pay. There is a basic pay if the employees just come, okay, and works. A basic pay is being paid, and maybe some employees are being paid commissions on their works. So if they work based on their work, they will get some commissions. Some people work overtime, so overtime wages and tip income. In case of, particularly in case of hotel, recreation, and service industry, okay, when an employee provides very good services to a customer, that customer may be very happy and pay a certain amount of money, or a little bit tip to that employee. Okay, so that's an income, particularly for the people who are working in hotel, restaurant, and this kind of business or organizations, particularly in service industries. Bonus pay, yeah, when organization earns a significant amount, a very good income in a particular year, so employees are being paid bonus, okay. And recognition of merit pay, recognition or merit pay, if an employee performs extraordinarily very good performance, in that case organization may give some sorts of rewards or recognition to that employee. So that's recognition or merit pay, is also an cost for the organization. Benefits, there are maybe some other benefits like medical benefits or transportation cost, or yeah, fuel cost, or some snacks or some other expenses spent on the employees. So yeah, stock options is also can be recognized as a cost for the organization. Stock options, what does the stock options means? Stock options means when the employees are being provided some shares of the company shares are provided. So, and that's an important motivation for the employees. When organization gives shares to its employees feel that I'm the owner of this company, okay. So they feel this is my organization, and they work very hard for the organization, because they are not only employee, they are the owner at the same time of this organization. So stock options is an important types of cost for labor cost, but at the same time this is an important motivation, way of motivating the employees of the organization. Other non-cash benefits, maybe there are some other benefits. Member, maybe the membership of different organization, and because of the employee of this organization, they can get some other benefits in the society. Membership of kind of gym, membership of other clubs, or recreational organizations, something like that. They can get some this kind of benefits as well, which is the cost of the organization, but employees are getting these non-cash benefits. Okay, so yeah, remuneration elements, as we mentioned before, how these are being paid, how these are being so usually monthly salary for administrative staff usually is being paid monthly, basic salary per week or per month, and augmented by extra payment depending on level of output or targets achieved. Okay, um, and also is loyalty and reward for efforts in output, or for being paid to the extraordinarily for extraordinary performance. All right. and hourly rate based on actual hours work. In some cases, some organization, particularly at the factory level, in some cases, hourly salary is being paid to the factory staff. Um, piecework basis, receiving a fixed amount for every item produced, regardless of time taken. So in some cases, the piecework basis. Okay, so how many pieces you are producing? It doesn't matter how much time you are taking. Okay, if you produce one piece in two hours or 3 hours, you'll be paid for the product that you produce, one piece. So if you produce one piece in 1 hour, you will get for one piece. If you take 2 hours or 3 hours for producing one product, you'll get the same payment. So it doesn't depend on time, it depends on the piece, the output that you produced. So as we mentioned before, there are different kind of benefits organization employees can get, like a car or medical insurance or clothing allowances. All right. So for example, some staff, particularly at the factory, they need a special kind of clothes to wear while working in the factory. So organization can give them clothes. Organization give, particularly the high officials, to the high officials, organization give car to use for official and in some cases for personal use, mostly official use. Rent allowances or relocation allowances, disruption payments. So there are different kind of payments are being provided, which are of which are benefits in kind. Okay, and employers' labor costs such as contribution to national insurance. In some cases, some organization paid or contributed to national insurance, and also in some cases, organization paid for the pensions for its employees. Benefits in kind includes the rewards or considerations that employees or directors receive, but which are not included in their salary check or wages. Okay, so these are the rewards, sometimes called as the fringe benefits. Okay, the rewards that employees or the director receive, but which are not being included in their salary statements. And they can include the car or private medical insurance, right? And maybe some free loans from the organization, particularly the people who are working in the financial industries, banking organization, financial institutions. They get free loan or cheaper rate, or at a cheaper or lower interest. They are getting loan from the bank or respective organization. Okay. Yeah, company car tax. In case of if the organization provided car, as I mentioned before, particularly the high level staff, an employee pay tax on the value of the benefit to them estimated by the employer. So the employee need to, because this is a benefit, right? If you use your own car, or if you use the taxi or hired car, you have to pay, you have to spend money. So as you are getting the benefit from the organization, this is the benefit in kind. It's not the money that you are receiving from the organization, but you are getting the benefit. And that's why employee, right, the labor required to pay tax on the estimated value of the car. Okay, and the estimated value of the car, it doesn't mean the value, real value of the car. It is being estimated based on the fuel type the car um, is using, and the CO2 emissions, carbon emissions, that level of the car, and also the time the vehicle is available or unavailable. Okay, is depending on that, on the time you are using, or you could use the car. Depending on these aspects, employees are supposed to pay tax on the car that they get from from the company. Okay, and also there are some other tax obligations on the employers, but these are being deducted from the employee's salary. That is called payee, P-A-Y-E, pay as you go, pay as you go. So whenever you get the salaries from the organization, then you have to pay the tax. You have to pay tax on your salaries to HMRC. You have to pay salaries. then the salary is actually being deducted by the employer before you are being paid the salaries from the organization. So whenever you are being paid, the tax is being deducted from your salary. So from the gross salary, tax is being deducted from your amount, and the remaining amount is being provided to you as net. All right, and tax months run from 6th of a month to the next month, the 5th of the next month. So this is how um, the pay as you go amount is being calculated based on the salary, the month of the salary. Okay, sick pay or maternity and paternity payments. These are also cost of the organization, labor cost. Okay, but these are the benefits. Okay, other benefits to the employees. Statutory sick pay, right, can pay back, can claim back sometimes. So if organizations are supposed to pay some money, uh, because some money for the days you were sick. Okay, so if for example, some organization may have 10 or 15 or 20 days for um, for which organization will pay um, if they are sick, if they can't work. Okay, pay for parents, right? So maternity payment, paternity payment, right? So if you have childbirth, right, at a particular time, if it is a female, it's a maternity, and if you are a parent, then you'll get some leave from the organization. Okay, you'd be leave, but you'd be on leave, but you'd be paid salaries from the organization. This is the cost of the organization, but this is your benefit, expenses and benefits, right? So as we mentioned before, uniforms or cars, so you'll get clothes from the organization, you get a car from the organization, right? So these are um, supposed to be recorded in the books of account as well in the organization as cost. Tips, right, as we mentioned before, these are being paid by the customers straight to the employees, right? These are the benefits employees get. In case of statutory sick payment, you can get £95, 95.85 a week statutory sick for up to 28 weeks. Okay, so weekly 95.85. Okay, statutory sick pay you can get. Okay, if you are off work because of coronavirus, you can get this amount if you have a letter saying you are at high risk of severe illness from coronavirus. Then you can get sick payments as well if you can't work or if you are not on work. If you have a letter from NHS or GP telling you you to take extra precaution because of you are at risk of severe illness from coronavirus, okay, so you can get statutory sick payments for the period specified in the letter. All right, so this is for what organization is bound to do. Okay, but obviously this is up to 28 weeks. Okay. Other elements of the normal pay, right? So as we mentioned, some of the things we already mentioned, like bonuses, commissions. Commissions is being paid on the works, but bonuses is being paid because organization earns extra additional income on a particular time. Holiday pay, right? So organization has some option to take, like employees are being provided some days for their leave. Okay, they can pay, they have to pay the time the employees were on leave. Okay, payments for time your employee has spent on traveling. For example, because of official work, I had to go to China, I had to go to Singapore, but I was in trouble for 1 day or 2 days or 3 days. Okay, so in that case, the organization, he's not working on while he was on travel, but he's supposed to get the salaries. Passenger payments, except the first 5 pence per mile. So, for example, you are traveling by car. Okay, so you are being paid because of the mileage you are traveling. Okay, medical suspension payments given to an employee if you have suspended for health reason. Okay, maternity suspension payments, as we mentioned before, guarantee payments paid to an employee for a day they do not work and not paid holiday. Okay, so if they are being guaranteed payments, so they are supposed to get the honorarium from the organization, honoraria for providing services. Okay, companies, sports club secretary. So if you have some sorts of extra responsibility, you are performing for the organization, so you'd get extra payments from the organization. This is also part of your payment that can be converted into cash. In some cases you get some you, you were eligible some benefits, but you didn't take it, and that's why you would be paid that amount in cash. Okay, so and then inducement payments, right? Golden hello payments can be cash prizes for competitions you run. Okay, so if you get any prize from the organization, that's also part of your payments, right? So this is up to the first part of the lecture. So how we will calculate, how we will record, and those aspects I'll tell you um, after a few minutes in the next part of the video. Thank you very much for watching.